Oh, yeah. Is it Tuesday already? The Rise of Skywalker's budget just dropped, and my God, almost $600 million. We'll talk about that. But Ahsoka Season 2, the run times have been leaked, so to speak, from Bryce Dallas Howard herself. Rosario Dawson is talking Ahsoka Season 2 and how the budget is technically lower than Season 1, which could be bad news. And we got to talk some Starfighter today because Shawn Levy just gave us some pretty important details about Mia Goth's character in the upcoming Star Wars film. So we got a lot of random news to get to today from all across the board, from Starfighter to Ahsoka Season 2 to Rise of Skywalker and everything in between. But we got a lot to get into and not a lot of time. So without further ado, let's dive into all of it. What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing on this fine Tuesday? It's Tuesday, right? Yeah, Tuesday afternoon. We got a fun one today. Ahsoka Season 2, yet again, makes the headlines as we're talking about Rosario Dawson and Bryce Dallas Howard, who went over this past weekend to different Comic-Cons and gave us some crazy information about this second season of Ahsoka. So we'll talk about all that stuff and so much more. I will be shocked, absolutely shocked. And I did see that I think Brandon got the shirt right today, the X-Wing shirt. Yeah, so 1,000 credits coming to you, Brandon. And I will be absolutely shocked if anybody can get the Easter egg for today's live stream. I will be shocked. So I'll leave that up to you guys for you to figure out. But before we dive into any of that, let's say hi to everybody in the chat, shall we? Another Mike who loves Star Wars. What is up? Starship 66 in the house. Robert, how we doing? Steve, what is up? Not a Fed. Still don't believe you. Chris, how we doing? Rachel in the house. Holly, what is up? Mando United, how we doing? Brandon Baker, what is up? That guy B in the house. Jacob, how we doing? Ron, what is up? Ian, how we doing? Darth Plagueis lives in the house. All right, if I missed you, you know the deal. Just yell at me in the chat. Let's give everybody a nice little...
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
Okay, so I think we got to start with the Ahsoka Season 2 stuff. We can get to the Rise of Skywalker chaos that was, I mean, come on, $600 million. It's crazy. But let's start with the Ahsoka Season 2 stuff because it's going to take the majority of our live stream today because Ahsoka Season 2 has got me so freaking hyped. But let's start where we should by asking you guys. On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for Ahsoka Season 2? And I didn't mean to rhyme, but I'm going to put up a poll in the chat anyway. So let's put this poll up in the chat first. Oh, wait, what? Where's my chat at? Why is it over there? No, go over there. God. Technology doesn't like to work sometimes. Okay, let's start it with a poll. Let's start it with a poll. It's funny because I'm seeing all these numbers come in, a ton of 10s, even higher than 10s. Some ridiculously high scores. Ahsoka Season 2, and correct me if I'm wrong, seems like the most anticipated project going into 2026. Tell me in the chat. Of the projects of Ahsoka Season 2, Maul Shadow Lord, The Mandalorian and Grogu, the spin-off of the Visions series, the Star Wars Legacy novel that was announced over this last weekend, what has you the most excited? What are you looking forward to the most in 2026 for Star Wars? Is it Ahsoka Season 2? And of course, tell me out of 10 where your hype level is at. Let's put up this poll. Are you excited for Ahsoka? Ahsoka. There we go. Season 2. Yes or no? Yes or no? Another Mike Love Star Wars with a very generous $2 holla. I appreciate the super chat. Says, your AI changed my mind. Would an AI do this? I really just thought about dumping my entire cup of water on my head. I'd like you guys to know that that was the first thing that came to mind, was I was going to take this entire cup of water right here and dump it on my head. But then I was going to have to go through the rest of the live stream with a wet head / wet entire body, and I didn't really want to do that. So I guess I can't prove it. I guess you just have to trust me that I am not AI. I mean,
I got a bad feeling about this.
okay, moving on. Moving on. Moving on. Jeez. Okay. So we're looking at these out of 10's excitement level. 10 out of 10, 10 plus, 100 out of 10, 69 out of 10. Nice. 19 out of 10, 15 out of 10, 100 out of 10, 7.5, 10, 20, 100, 9.91593. Okay. 10 out of 10, 100 out of 10. We got some insane stuff going on here. Not a Fed says, I promise I won't interrupt with the super chat today, as he interrupts with the super chat today. I appreciate it. Super chats, memberships keep the lights on over here. But let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Ahsoka Season 2. So first, let's start with the run times. Okay, let's start with the run times and what Bryce Dallas Howard revealed to us from New York Comic Con. So if you've been living under a rock for the last, 4 days, this past weekend was New York City Comic Con. And what happens at these giant conventions is we get some announcements. Now, for Star Wars, we did get some pretty big announcements. The biggest one probably being the Star Wars Legacy novel that we talked about on Saturday's live stream. And we'll go through all the announcements that happened from New York Comic-Con later on in the live stream. But one of the biggest things was a panel that Bryce Dallas Howard was at because she gave us some awesome information about Ahsoka Season 2. So let's dive into it, shall we? Bryce Dallas Howard reveals more details about Ahsoka Season 2 at New York Comic-Con. Run times of the episodes will range between 45 to 60 minutes. Let's start there. Before we even get to the next thing, let's just start with that. Is that long enough? 8 episodes, just like Season 1, just like The Mandalorian, just like The Acolyte, just like Skeleton Crew. 8 episodes, all around the time of 45 minutes to an hour. Is that good enough? Oh, wrong button. Is that good enough? A conversation that comes up over and over and over again in the Star Wars community is, are these episodes too short? Now let's go take a look at Season 1. The complaint is never enough. As a Star Wars fan, we always want more. We're like Kylo Ren sitting there trying to blast Luke Skywalker on crate. We want more! But let's be realistic here. Is 45 minutes to an hour good enough? Is it sufficient for our funds? Let's take a look at Season 1 first before we even talk about it. So Season 1 is on that very similar trek. Episode 1, 57 minutes. Episode 2, 44 minutes. Episode 3, 37 minutes. 41, 52, 49, 46, 49. So they're all, other than Episode 3, which is 37, they are all within 40 to an hour. Yeah, 40 to 60 minutes. So similar. Very, very similar. Is this enough? Is it long enough? What is the correct runtime that a Star Wars episode should have? Now, maybe it varies because you have, Andor that's 12 episodes or Kenobi that's 6 episodes. So maybe it should vary per show. But the average, the usual when it comes to Star Wars Disney Plus live action shows is 8 episodes, all with a runtime around 35 to 55 minutes. Is that enough? Think of it this way. If you're getting an Ahsoka movie, the longest that would be is at most, 3.5 hours. At most. Now doing quick maths, 40 times 8 is just, a little bit longer than that. So we are still getting more content when it comes to these live action shows than we would if it were a movie, but still, some fans aren't satisfied. 99 minutes and 99 seconds per episode. Let's be realistic here, though. If every episode was an hour and a half, you'd be getting these crazy filler episodes that are dragged on forever that just don't work. I would way rather see Season 1 of Ahsoka, which is this very no filler, all killer season of just bang, 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 bang. Introductions, immediately figuring out the conflict of Thrawn coming back and all that stuff, the Night Sisters, and getting from that to going to Peridia, to being on Peridia, to losing to Thrawn, and the end of the season with a cliffhanger to set up more for season 2. It's all killer, no filler. But if those episodes were an hour 15, an hour and a half, they would have had to drag on these ideas that don't need to be. So for me, when it comes to these runtimes, they don't mean much. I mean, it depends on what's in the episode. I could get a 30-minute episode that could be the greatest Star Wars content I've ever seen. I could also get a 60-minute episode that sucks. It doesn't really matter. The only thing that matters is the content between those minutes. That's it. So when you see stuff like, well, let's go to Andor Season 2, perfect example. Or even Tales of the Jedi is even more of a perfect example, but we'll go to Andor Season 2 first. Andor Season 2, when you look at these runtimes, I'm going to go to specifically the last ones here. So you look at the last 3 here. 51 minutes, 45 minutes, and 49 minutes. So 50 minutes, anywhere from 45 minutes to 51 minutes are these final 3 episodes. I didn't hear anybody complaining about the run times of Andor Season 2. Now, granted, it is 12 episodes versus the 8 that we get for Ahsoka. But still, those run times are the exact same as Ahsoka. So again, it's fully dependent on the content within the episode. You look at Tales of the Jedi, they are 15-minute episodes. Not even that. They're probably 10 to 15-minute episodes, and they tell an incredible story about Ahsoka, about Dooku. All that stuff is in 15 minutes, and it's incredible. Some of the best storytelling to ever happen in Star Wars is just those very quick little stories about Ahsoka and Count Dooku. And yet, we love them. It's not because their runtime is 2 hours. Not because it's this insanely long episode. It's because the content that's within it. So I've been seeing this overreaction to, oh my God, Ahsoka's only 40 minutes to 60 minutes. You add credits, that's only like 36 and a half minutes. You add intro, that's only like 33 and a half minutes. A lot of over-exaggeration going on here. And the reality of the situation is the entire season could suck, which I certainly hope not, and I don't think it will, or the entire season could be incredible. It's all dependent on the content. So that's my spiel when it comes to runtimes. Now, maybe you think of it completely differently, so tell me in the chat. Are 45 to 60-minute episodes good enough for you? Tell me in the chat. Actually, let's pull this up. You know what? Let's pull it up. And we got a super chat. Hang on. Oh, Darth Plagueis lives with a very generous $10 holla. I appreciate that quite a bit. Says, the real question is, will there be a season 3? We'll talk about that in a second. Let's stick on the run times for a second. We'll get to the season 3 in a little bit. All right, let's put up this poll. By the way, 93% of you are excited for Ahsoka season 2. That's what I like to see. Okay. Are 45 to 60-minute episodes long enough? Yes or no? Are 45 to 60-minute episodes long enough for Disney Plus live-action Star Wars? People don't really look at it this way, but Ahsoka Season 2 does have a lot riding on it. It's the only live-action Star Wars project left, technically. I mean, that's been announced so far. So it would really be disastrous if this season sucked and performed very, very poorly, because to Disney, that would see that, you know, this live-action stuff on Disney Plus, it's not working. We can continue doing animated stuff, the short stuff with the Tales or the Star Wars Visions, and that stuff's good. But live action, when we're putting hundreds of millions of dollars into this content and it doesn't perform well, what's the point? Let's just go back to doing only movies, strictly movies, forever. So technically, Ahsoka season 2 does have a little bit riding on its back of this is the last test for live action Star Wars content. And on the exact opposite side, if it performs extremely well, that could lead to second seasons of Kenobi, Book of Boba Fett, Skeleton Crew, or even, if we're lucky, The Acolyte. But I guess that's a conversation for another time. But Ahsoka Season 2 does have a pretty good amount riding on it, as it does seem to be the last announced live-action Star Wars show. So what do we think? What do we think? $50 minutes plus or minus 10 episodes? Wait, what? Oh, 10 minutes? 50 minutes plus or minus 10 minutes. That doesn't make any sense. But yes, 45 minutes of pure content is perfect. That's not including opening and closing credits. Well, you have to assume that the 45 to 60 minutes that Bryce Dallas Howard is talking about here is with credits, because that's how pretty much all the Disney Plus content works. That's with credits. 69 minutes minimum.
This is where the fun begins.
Okay. They're all going to go through again, aren't they? I'm muting it. Okay. So with that being said, Bryce Dallas Howard confirms that the run times for Ahsoka Season 2 are 45 to 60 minutes long, which is just on brand with the first season, which makes sense. She goes on to say that the second season has an improved color design and cinematography. A cinematographer from Rogue One has been brought on board. It's unclear if it's Greg Fraser or another person who was involved on cinematography for Rogue One. This is very, very exciting to me. I love Ahsoka Season 1. I thought, personally, it's got some of the coolest shots. Specifically, the one I think of is when Ahsoka's running through the forest and you see the Eye of Sion from the ground. Incredible. But when it comes to Star Wars content, the sequel trilogy and Rogue One specifically have some of the greatest cinematography, or I guess cinematic scenes in Star Wars. So to have somebody come over from Rogue One, one of the best Star Wars movies ever created, to be a cinematographer on Ahsoka Season 2 is great news. Not good, great news. So hopefully we get to see that sort of style of Rogue One, that sort of epicness that is Rogue One, come over to Ahsoka Season 2, which will be great. Yeah. Mike, who would win in a 1v1, Osha or Anakin? Anakin? Osha trained as a Jedi for a little bit, but no, not even close. Anakin, easy. Yeah. Budget is a main issue. Live action is so expensive, so to make make it with zero wiggle room for no filler. Yeah, I mean, when you look at The Mandalorian, it was clear that it was something new. The Mandalorian was given a ton of leeway when it came to budget, because you look at those first couple seasons, there's a ton of filler episodes. And now when you look at Disney Plus, there's no room for that. You can't spend millions upon millions of dollars on a filler episode on a live action Star Wars show. You can in animation. You see it in the Bad Batch, you see it in the Clone Wars, you see it in Rebels, and you'll probably see it in the Maul series as well. But when it comes to live action, you can't waste, I guess not really waste, but you know what I mean, waste millions upon millions of dollars on a filler episode. I get wanting to live in that world longer. That makes sense. You want to explore and expand these characters, and that's how they do it in animation. But in order to actually use the budget to its full potential, you're going to need to have zero filler episodes. But Bryce Dallas Howard continues, because that's not the only thing that she said. She also said that post-production has just started, because we learned that filming wrapped last week, and that it will last about 1 year. I've seen other reports say that she said 10 to 12 months. Now, why is this important? Well, we're talking about a release date for Ahsoka Season 2 and how it's on a very similar trek to Season 1 when that first season wrapped filming in October, just like this one did, and it released the following August, which technically is 10 months from now, and 12 months would be October. But I have been hearing people talk about this November release date, maybe even December, but I don't know where their math is mathing from because that's 11 months or 12 months. I mean, sorry, that's 13 months or 14 months. My math isn't even mathing. So I don't know if they're using a different calendar than I am or what's going on there, but it does make sense to me that Ahsoka Season 2 would be on a very, very similar trajectory in terms of release date, and we'll probably be seeing it around that September, October, release date schedule. So we got a lot of information from this, and we haven't even gotten to the Rosario Dawson stuff yet. In terms of runtime, 45 to 60 minutes. A release date anywhere from August to early November. And we'll be watching Ahsoka Season 2 this time next year. 60-minute episodes, hopefully. And then she didn't really say much about a Season 3. She did say that Dave Filoni has sort of made this an ending of its own. It could end with Season 2. Now, let's talk about a Season 3. Darth Plagueis brought it up in his super chat. Thank you for that. Do you guys think that there will be a Season 3 of Ahsoka? Yes or no? What do we think? Will there be a third season? Dave Filoni is supposed to be getting his movie. So will the third season come out after that? What do we think? I wish they could make filler episodes with less CGI and some post-production costs that would be less and give us more content. That's the reason I like Rebels, Clone Wars, Bad Batch so much, because the animated side of things allows you to explore so much more story when it comes to that side of the universe. You get more time with the characters. And in live action, you just don't get that. So I agree with you, but it does cost a lot of money. Yeah. No, there won't be a Season 3. I think they want the Heir to the Empire movie sooner rather than later. Well, it does bring up the fact of this possible Mando trilogy we've been talking about now. The idea that Dave Filoni's movie will be the second installment of a Mando trilogy, of a Heir to the Empire trilogy, it could mean that Ahsoka ends with its second season. I've heard some theories being thrown around that Ahsoka's going to die in Season 2, which I certainly hope not. Here I am, Mike, the guy who kills everybody. If they kill off Ahsoka in Season 2, I'm going to be upset. But I do believe Ahsoka's done after Season 2. I think her purpose, as she calls it, in Season 1, they're destined to be on Peridia. At least she is. Because whatever this threat is, Abeloth, Balin Skull, whatever this big old threat with the Mortis God connection is going to be, her destiny, fulfill your destiny, her destiny is to be there and stop whatever threat is there from entering the main galaxy. It could be the most noble and important role of anyone ever. She could be the prison guard of the most evil, powerful being in the known galaxy or galaxies, Abeloth. With the help of Anakin and maybe even Balin Skull or Shin or whomever, we could see her end of her story without killing her. Because she has to stay there and protect whoever is this great evil threat. Ahsoka should have died in Rebels? No.
Incorrect.
Definitely not that. Definitely not that. Maybe the new galaxy is our galaxy? No. Either way, even if it was, and you're talking about it like being like, oh, Earth is going to be in Star Wars. It's a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. So maybe we're in the galaxy far away instead of the far, far, Maybe. I would love a live action Mortis Gods series. You're probably going to get the Mortis Gods in live action in Ahsoka Season 2, but I don't know about getting a whole series on them. You got a new member? Hang on. Hang on, Chet. Oh, is that Maggie? I think it's Maggie. Star Wars Fan 24. Welcome to the people who love Star Wars. Welcome to the people who love Star Wars. I appreciate that quite a bit. New members, back-to-back live streams. You got to love that. Memberships, super chats, gifted memberships. Keep the lights on over here. So I appreciate it quite a bit. Star Wars Santa in the house. What's up, Star Wars Santa? Says, I think Ahsoka will be in the Mortis realm at the end of her story arc. Interesting. I kind of like that. Well, let's put it this way. You look at Ahsoka, she's been brought back from the dead 3 times. On Mortis, she's dying or dead, and Anakin brings her back to life with the sister. She becomes the living embodiment of the light side of the Force. She dies to Vader on Malachor 5, and Ezra pulls her out in the World Between Worlds, and then she dies to Baylan Skoll in that fight in Ahsoka Season 1, where Anakin pulls her into the World Between Worlds, and we get to see that awesome confrontation. So she's technically died 3 times already in the canon of Star Wars, and she keeps coming back. It makes you think that this character has a huge purpose in some greater thing with the Force itself. Just like Anakin had this way bigger purpose with the Force itself. He was supposed to be the father, take the role of the father for the Mortis Gods on Mortis, and he didn't do that. They all ended up dying, and we know what else happens after that. He becomes Vader and destroys all the Jedi. So maybe Ahsoka, much like Anakin did, has this greater purpose. And who knows what that greater purpose could be, but it could be that she's supposed to stop this crazy threat that is on Peridia, protect the entire galaxy all at once. She is the chosen one. Don't even get me started on the chosen one prophecy. Don't even get me started. Yeah, no. She's the apprentice to the chosen one, but is Anakin really even the chosen one? Think about it. Think about it. If Ahsoka had become the daughter and now brought back again by the father, Anakin, could she be immortal and only the sword can kill her? Oh, only like the sword, the dagger or whatever from the Mortis Gods? I don't know. That's the coolest part, though. There is so much with Ahsoka that's unanswered. She has so much. Yeah. The prophecy misread could have been. True that. Rey Skywalker is the chosen one. She brought balance to the Force. Did she, though? I don't know how much balance really means to you guys, but balance usually means that on this side, it weighs the same as this side. And when Rey kills Palpatine and all the Sith, it kind of goes like this. The Jedi are way more powerful. There's way more of them. Balance? I don't think so. The prophecy misread. Could have been. The daughter died because the Jedi die in the regular galaxy, and this is a mirroring of that. Yes, but that happens before all the Jedi die. Yeah. I like where your head's at, though. I think it will be decided after seeing the results for Season 3. Impossible to keep it running if the numbers aren't good. True. Absolutely. In terms of a Season 3, if the second season fails miserably, then no, there's not going to be a Season 3. I just don't think there'll be a Season 3 regardless, because you're going to see all this shift to the movies. The whole thing with Thrawn as the heir to the Empire, fighting the New Republic. That will all be shifted over to the big screen, with hopefully the Mandalorian and Grogu movie being the beginning of a trilogy. Yeah. Perhaps if the Mandalorian and Grogu does do poorly, then they'll make a season 3. Yeah. I mean, hopefully it doesn't, but if worse comes to worst, sure. Ahsoka is Snoke? No. I don't think so. I don't think so. Not according to George Lucas, the balance is the light side. Well, George Lucas clearly has lost his mind. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Balance is all things should be. Yeah. Oh my God. All right, let's put this up in a poll because you guys are absolutely insane. Whoa, hang on. This is very surprising to me. Are 45 to 60-minute episodes long enough? 90% of you say yes. Geez, chat, you gone soft? I thought we didn't like that. I thought that wasn't long enough for you guys. Like a year ago. Pause. I guess it wasn't long enough. All right, let's put up a poll here. Let's put up a poll. Do you think Ahsoka will get a third season? Yes or no? Do you think Ahsoka will get a season 3? I'm just leaning more towards the no side because I think this will give a good end to Ahsoka's character. And then whatever the movies do will be unconnected. It'll be connected to Ahsoka specifically, but not her being there. Yeah. We don't like the 20 to 30-minute episodes. 45 to 60 is enough. Okay. All right. All right. Most Disney Plus shows are 35 to 45, so anything over that is good. All right. Okay. Interesting. We'll see if that changes. I think they've learned from Andor and know that fans want longer episodes. Yeah, I guess. But as I've mentioned over and over again, it doesn't matter. We could get an hour and 15-minute episode that sucks, and it would be the end of the world. Or we could get a 30-minute episode that's incredible. I always bring up the finale of Mando Season 2 because I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, Mando Season 2... Yeah. Mando Season 2's finale is 48 episodes. 48 episodes. 48 minutes. Not episodes. 48 minutes. On the lower side, the premiere of Season 2 is 55 minutes. I guess it's sort of similar, but still. And that finale is a masterpiece. Or even the Ahsoka first episode's 48 minutes too. Let's see. Season 1. Season 1 of Mando has a lot of 30s. 34, 39, 37. Yeah. Season 2 will be its last. Okay. 71% of you right now think that it will not be getting a third season. Interesting. Interesting. We could get, maybe, a Mandoverse movie, Mandoverse show, Mandoverse movie, Mandoverse show. Actually, it could be Mandoverse movie, Mandalorian and Grogu, then Ahsoka Season 2, and then another one. Maybe Skeleton Crew Season 2, maybe Book of Boba Fett Season 2, maybe something else that's new. I don't know. But, and then in between the movies, you get multiple seasons of television. The Skeleton Crew series is so interesting to me because not only is it great, but it's unconnected. In the world where all these other projects are heavily connected, you got Carson Teva and Zeb being in Ahsoka Season 1 and 2, I guess, and being connected to The Mandalorian, having Ahsoka herself be in The Mandalorian, and the Book of Boba Fett and Mando are obviously connected with Din Djarin being in both, and Boba Fett being in both, and Fennec Shand being in both. But all those projects are heavily connected except for Skeleton Crew. And Skeleton Crew introduced At-Atten and Jod Nah-Nahwood and all the kids as well. So I think you could see a Skeleton Crew season 2 that ties together all those characters and the planet itself of At-Atten to Thrawn, to the New Republic, to all that stuff that will tie them into the next movie in the timeline. Yeah. Season 2 of The Acolyte. I mean, I certainly hope we get a season 2 of The Acolyte, but that's besides the point. I'm talking Mandoverse specific. When we're getting this Mando trilogy we talk about all the time, I want multiple seasons of television in between those movies in the Mandoverse to continue the story. For example, Skeleton Crew season 2, Book of Boba Fett season 2, and Ahsoka season 2. Yeah. Yeah. Uh, Quality over quantity. True. They lost their way a bit with some series. Like Obi-Wan should have been a movie, true, and Boba Fett, that never should have been a series. Boba Fett should have just been a Mando cameo. I still like the Book of Boba Fett as a series. Maybe it shouldn't have been 7 episodes, could have been 6. But I like the stuff with the Tusken Raiders. I like the stuff with Din Djarin and the N1 Starfighter, and then the fight for Mos Espa versus the Pikes and versus Cad Bane. I like that stuff. Maybe it should have been 6 episodes instead of 7. And I mean, clearly it shouldn't have been 8 because it wasn't 8. But I think that story was necessary. You get now that Boba Fett is a ruler of a portion of the underworld on Tatooine, took over for Jabba the Hutt. And now you have that and the ability to use that power in what's coming up next with the Heir to the Empire stuff. But in terms of Obi-Wan, it definitely should have been a movie. Yeah. Yeah. Skeleton Crew is great for bringing in new fans into Star Wars. It would be silly to not give them another season. I just want them to connect to all these other things. You know, I want the Skeleton Crew members and Jod to be involved with the Mandoverse story, to be involved with the trilogy that's to come. I think they will. Of course, there's no reason that they made that show if not to do that. At-Atten specifically has all these credits that we're waiting for Thrawn to take, and in location, it's right next to Dathomir on the map. Yeah. Ahsoka is just a live-action season of Rebels. Exactly, David. And that's why it's incredible. It's just Rebels Season 5, and that's what makes it awesome. And now we're getting Rebels Season 6. Guess what? Ahsoka Season 2 is Rebels Season 6, and the runtime of each episode is going to be 45 to 60 minutes with a cinematographer from Rogue freaking One. It's going to be awesome. So let's get to what Rosario Dawson had to say, because that's just what Bryce Dallas Howard had to say. And again, I recap. 45 to 60-minute episodes, improved color design and cinematography with the cinematographer from Rogue One. Post-production just started and will go for about a year, 10 to 12 months. Possible release of November. That math doesn't math, but possible release of, I think, anywhere from August to early November, but I would assume September or October. And then unclear if there will be a third season. Now let's get to what Rosario Dawson had to say, because she was at a different Comic-Con this weekend, Comic-Con Scotland, with Hayden Christensen, with Iman Esfandi, and a lot of the Ahsoka cast. And she gave a little bit of tidbits on Ahsoka Season 2. Rosario and Hayden were filming scenes together last week in the final week of shooting. Now, it's not always the case that they film what's last in the season last, but if we assume that that's the case here, well, then the theory holds up that Ahsoka and Hayden could be the ones, he's a Force ghost. Ahsoka and Anakin could be the ones left behind on Peridia as Sabine and Huge Wang and Shin and maybe even Balin to go back home. And Ahsoka stays as sort of a temple guard with Anakin's help to protect the rest of the galaxy from a bigger threat. Rosario also confirms that filming has concluded, which we sort of knew from last week, And this is the big one. Season 2's budget is smaller, but the season goes bigger. Is this the end of the world? Should we start to lose our minds? Ahsoka Season 2's budget is smaller than the first.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Not a fan of that. Not a fan of that one bit. Ahsoka Season 1, of course, has a huge budget. You got the world between worlds sequences. You got great lightsaber duels between Shin and Sabine. Shin and Sabine again. Ahsoka and Balin. Ahsoka and Balin again. Ahsoka versus Anakin. Ahsoka versus Morgan Elsbeth. You got some pretty great action sequences that probably cost a lot of money. You got the whole Purgle stuff. You got all the stuff that happens in a new galaxy with Peridia and Thrawn and I'm blanking the Chimera. Couldn't think of the name for some reason. Obviously, the budget is very, very high. But when you look at Season 2, the craziness that's supposed to go down, a war in our Star Wars in the main galaxy, you're supposed to get possibly Abeloth and some Mortis God stuff. How is the budget not going to be way bigger for Season 2 than it was Season 1? I don't know if this is cause for sounding the alarm yet, but it's a little strange that Rosario even brought it up. The fact that it has a smaller budget than Season 1. It is weird. She does sort of compound that with the fact that Season 2 is a lot bigger, which is what I just said, a war in our Star Wars, but we're also getting all that craziness with the Mortis gods in a different galaxy. It's, of course, way bigger than what Season 1 was even doing, and Season 1 introduced a brand new galaxy and the world between worlds to live action. So, yeah, there's that. But the budgeting thing. Should this be a cause for alarm? The fact that the budget for Season 2 is smaller than Season 1. Should this be sound the alarms? Maybe it is less because the basics for special effects are already have been purchased. Ooh, interesting. And costumes and stuff like that? Maybe. It was sort of my argument for the Acolyte Season 2, too. Because you have the idea that characters returning, you don't have to build all new sets because you are going to reuse some sets and costumes and all that other stuff. So technically, that takes a pretty big chunk of change off the top. Somebody also brought up, less volume. More on-site filming for Season 2. That was confirmed to be a big thing. Less use of the volume and more on-site stuff, so maybe that saves some in terms of special effects. Maybe. No, because the budgets have been too high. They need to be scrapping again. Okay, interesting. I don't think it's a call for concern. It will be a call for concern if we watch Season 2 and we go, wow, this is clearly a lower quality. That would be bad. Maybe she's saying this in a good light. Maybe you guys are absolutely right, and this is a good thing because they shot on location more and didn't have to use more special effects and build in-house, and that costs a lot more money. So maybe you're right. Maybe I'm overreacting. But when I see budget is smaller than Season 1, when Season 2 is trying to do bigger things than Season 1, kind of, sounds like a bad thing. Yeah. That's the formula for TV series to follow. Big initial investments. Yeah, I mean, I guess, because the Peridia sets are going to be used over again. So those don't have to be rebuilt. Even stuff like the New Republic ships and all that stuff, those sets don't have to be rebuilt. They're already there. so you don't have to spend that money. Yeah, I guess. I guess you're right. It's not easy to go lower. Well, there's Kenobi. Yeah, Kenobi's budget was very, very small. And yet we still got the rematch of the century. Yeah. And speaking of budgets, we'll talk about the Rise of Skywalker one in a minute, but I mean, crazy. Yeah. So the smaller budget, should that be a concern? Can we pull this up? Let's pull it up. Let's pull it up. By the way, let's see if that stayed. Kip Fisto, what's up? How we doing? Maybe they realize that they don't need as much as they did for season 1. It could be something as simple as that, but 67% of you say no, Ahsoka will not get a season 3. I agree with you guys. But let's do this. Do you think, or let's put it this way, is the quote unquote smaller budget for Ahsoka season 2 cause for concern? Yes or no? Should we be concerned about this lower budget for season 2? Ahsoka should have been called something else so that I can continue with to pass on to other characters. Well, you can continue other characters in a different series. Like The Mandalorian is about Din and Grogu. It's going to continue to be that. Book of Boba Fett's not going to be about somebody else. It's going to be about Boba Fett. Ahsoka's going to be about Ahsoka. Like this, the first season's about her struggling, or her struggles of not being able to train Sabine or Grogu for that matter, because she doesn't want to create the next Anakin Skywalker, the next Darth Vader. And then she goes through the World Between Worlds, has that whole last lesson with her former master, comes out Ahsoka the White, and begins training Sabine. We get our great definition of what the Force is and how it works, and then we get to see, of course, how Rebels Season 5 happens with Thrawn and Ezra. And Ahsoka's destiny to be in this new galaxy. Season 2 will have a very similar thing. It's still Ahsoka's series, so it's still going to be what Ahsoka's journey is in this final season. Or, I say final season very loosely. In this second season, which could be the final season. So what her purpose is in all of it. But no, you can continue branch off series with Ezra or the Ghost Crew or anything in something else. They're all going to be in the Mandoverse movies, whatever Dave's movie ends up being, the Heir to the Empire stuff. Yeah. No, I mean, you could call it Rebels Season 5. You could continue with Ezra, Sabine, Thrawn in the conflict. I don't like the Heir to the Empire plot being tied into Ahsoka's character. Well, it kind of is in passing. Like, Ahsoka is the one who brings up Thrawn as the Heir to the Empire, but Thrawn's in this galaxy, Ahsoka's in this one. She comes to this galaxy, and then Thrawn leaves and goes to this one. So they just pretty much Uno reverse switch sides, and Ahsoka's not going to be involved. I don't think she'll be involved with the whole Heir to the Empire stuff. So Ahsoka sets up Heir to the Empire, but it's not the Heir to the Empire. Much like Rogue One, Cassian, Jyn Erso, they set up A New Hope. They set up the original trilogy, but they're not in it. They're not Luke, Leia, and Han. The Rogue One, the name of that crew, they all die. Spoiler alert. Ho, ho! Spoiler alert. They all die, but the events of what they do leads to the original trilogy. So I don't think Ahsoka will die, but the events of what Ahsoka Season 1 and 2 do will lead to this Mando trilogy of the Heir to the Empire and Grand Admiral Thrawn in a very similar way. Yeah. Cassidy says, Annabelle had a budget of $6 million and grossed nearly $260 million. Disney needs to take a few notes, could result in some more content. it is very interesting when you look at, of course, Annabelle is very different, but when you look at some other creators that are doing this stuff on lower budgets. For example, the Godzilla minus one, was it called? Godzilla minus one, which came out last year or something like that, was built on a insanely low budget of I think $25 million. Somebody fact check me on that, but I think it was $25 million, and it's this huge blockbuster Godzilla movie where the special effects look great. So, yeah, I mean, there is a lot of room, I think, for budgeting where you don't have to spend an insane amount of money on special effects and stuff like that. But yeah, exactly. Godzilla minus one was awesome. It was great. And the special effects didn't look cheap at all. So there is a way to do it. I just don't know how. Okay, we're speaking so much about budget that we have to bring this up. Have you guys seen this? This is absolutely insane. All right. Okay. Let's look at this. Look at this. Cost of Star Wars Rise of Skywalker approaches $600 million. Take a look at this. Disney has today revealed that the total cost of 2019's Rise of Skywalker came to $593.7 million, making it the third most expensive movie in history. The cost of the production company behind the third installment of the sci-fi saga rose by $10.1 million last year, putting its total within a hair breadth of the this $593 million spent on Disney's first Star Wars movie, The Force Awakens. It too only trails Jurassic World Dominion. As the reporter reveals in The Guardian earlier this year. So it is the third most expensive movie ever created behind The Force Awakens and Jurassic World Dominion, meaning that two of the three sequel trilogy movies are two of the highest, most expensive movies ever created. Now, granted, The Force Awakens did make over $2 billion. The Rise of Skywalker made $1 billion. So they made that money back. But this is still insane. This is still absolutely insane. Big budget doesn't mean good movie. True. Remarkably, despite the staggering costs, Rise of Skywalker came in under budget. And there's no doubt about that. Like the last three Jurassic World films, Disney's Star Wars trilogy was made in the United Kingdom, which shines a spotlight on all its costs. The budgets of movies made in the United States are usually a close guarded secret, as studios combine the cost of them to overall expenses and don't itemize how much they spent on each one. It's a different story for the UK. So maybe, since the United States is keeping all these secrets, a lot of movies cost this much, and they just don't reveal it because they know that people will talk about it, and it just doesn't really, make for good headlines when a movie costs $600 million. But maybe it is the case. I mean, a lot of movies get made in the US where they don't reveal anything, but we'll see. Studios filming in the UK get a reimbursement of up to 25.5% of money they spend in the country, provided that at least 10% of the movie's core costs are incurred there. Interesting. So they get 25% back? That's quite the credit card. In order to demonstrate this to the authorities, studios set up separate companies to produce each film in the UK, and they are obligated to file legal binding financial statements. So that's pretty crazy. I didn't realize that. The more you know. But nevertheless, and they just go on to talk about it more and more and more. Nothing really too crazy in here. Nevertheless, The Rise of Skywalker, the third most expensive movie all time, at least that we know of. So look at this. Disney banked a $103 million reimbursement for Rise of Skywalker. That's crazy. It returned largely came from its share of the box office, $1.077 billion taking. So Rise of Skywalker made $1.07 billion. Force Awakens, which is cost even more than this movie, grossed 2 point something, $2 billion. So I guess technically the risk is worth the reward if you're making $2 billion. Now, I have heard the rumors that the Avatar movies, give me a 1 into the chat if you've seen the James Cameron Avatar movies, the blue people, not to be confused with the Last Airbender, the blue people Avatar. Those movies cost like $1 billion to make. They've said that those movies, in order to make money back, have to make $2 billion. They have to. So I guess it's not that crazy to think that Star Wars, this space sci-fi fantasy epic, needs a lot of money to make. But $600 million? Granted, I will give you that the special effects, the cinematography of the sequel trilogy, specifically The Force Awakens, and I guess The Rise of Skywalker too, is incredible. Visually, it's great. The $600 million can be seen right there on the screen. It looks visually stunning, but that's still crazy. That's absolutely insane. So, when we talk about the budget of Ahsoka Season 2 and how it's smaller than the budget of Season 1, well, can we just give Ahsoka Season 2 a $600 million budget? The content is longer than The Rise of Skywalker, technically. When you look at the Disney Plus shows, you look at like Andor. The 2 seasons of Andor got a $600 million budget. Each season around about that $300 million mark. So, hey, you never know. Yeah. I was pleasantly surprised by that second Avatar movie. Never seen it. I watched the first Avatar in theaters. I don't know if I've ever seen that one again. I've probably seen it on TV once or twice. But that was in like 2007, 2008, something like that, when I was 6 years old. So I don't really remember that much. And then I never watched the second one. You know, maybe they're good, but just didn't watch. There you go. The content is also better than The Rise of Skywalker. I mean, to some, I'm sure. Anakin will be the father, or the new father, in Ahsoka. The real daughter, and Balin will be the son. Interesting. That's my guess. Maybe Shin will be Abeloth. I could see that too. Shin is set up to be at least the visual appearance of Abeloth. In terms of the other Mortis gods, that's actually a great question. Do you think Anakin is the father? Yes or no? Do you think after death, Anakin has taken up the role of the father of the Mortis gods? Yes or no? I'm interested because I'm about to, blow up all your great theories. Why not give $1 trillion budget if they want to be ridiculous for no reason, especially with AI tools now available? Well, $1 trillion is a lot of money. But yeah, no, definitely not. Yes, so you guys all think that he's taken up the role of the father in the afterlife. But here's the issue with that. And shout out to Nick on Star Wars Jedi Chat. He brought this up to me, and it's a great point. Anakin's gone. I'm what remains. No, I'm kidding. Anakin's dead. The whole gist of the Mortis God arc is that they are living beings. And the father is dying. And Anakin is supposed to take the role of the father because the father is dying. And then the Mortis gods all die themselves. The son kills the daughter, the son kills the father, or the father kills the son. No, son kills the father, and Anakin kills the son. They all die. So how can Anakin be the father if he himself is dead? That's the issue. The father was a living being. Anakin was a living being. And now they're both dead. No one's ever really gone, Mike. Okay. Valid. Valid, I guess. He brought balance to the Force in both realms. Was the Force realm out of balance? Anakin lives in the cosmic Force. He's not fully gone. Interesting. So you're assuming that the father was unable to become a Force ghost, so he was not able to live forever? But are Force ghosts able to live forever? That's the problem. We know so little about what it is to be a Force ghost, what the abilities are of a Force ghost, that it's almost like Ahsoka Season 2's got to give us a ton of answers about that. Can a Force ghost physically be something of that sort as the father? Can he interact with the physical world? For example, when they go to Mortis, the father grabs Anakin's lightsaber, the burning part that cuts through things, and puts it right back into his lightsaber. Would Anakin be able to do something like that? Would he be able to touch something physical? Now, Force ghosts in recent past have been able to do so. Luke in The Rise of Skywalker, Yoda in The Last Jedi. But is Anakin going to be able to do the same? Because he doesn't show up to Luke at all. He doesn't show up to anybody during the time of the sequel trilogy or before that. So the question becomes, where was he? Yeah. Vader trained Balin in secret to be the father and helps Ahsoka to be the daughter, and Snoke is the son? I don't think so. I'd love to see how Balin knows Anakin, that relationship from before Order 66. If Anakin's talking to Balin Skull about Ahsoka, they must have had some sort of pretty close-knit relationship there. You know? If we get the Bendu in live action, I'm going to lose my mind. Oh, that would be awesome. That'd be so good. One of the most underrated scenes in Rebels is when the Bendu tells Thrawn exactly how he's going to lose. He literally tells him, "You will lose," with these cold arms wrapped around you. Talking about the Purgle's arms as they're wrapped around him and as he blasts into hyperspace as he loses. It's so good. So to see the Bendu in live action will be awesome. Yeah. No, please, no more Snoke. Oh, you're definitely going to get more Snoke. This is all, like, the Mandoverse is so great, but we got to remember that it's all leading to the sequel trilogy. It's all leading to Snoke in the First Order and Palpatine's return. Like, Thrawn is a threat, but he's only a threat that's going to be there for a little bit. He's not going to last. He's going to get his time to shine, and then he's going to lose, and he might even warn people about what's happening. The coolest thing I think Thrawn could do, because he's such a genius, would be figure out Palpatine. Figure out that Palpatine's still alive, where he is, and all that craziness. Because in the novels, in the canon novels about Thrawn, he's not supposed to know about the Death Star. He figures it out on his own. He's not supposed to know a lot of things, actually, and he just figures it all out on his own. He figures out that Vader is Anakin. He's just a genius. So for him to come into the Mandoverse after not being in the galaxy for 11 years and trying to piece all this stuff together of what happened, he'll learn who Luke is, which will be crazy shock because it's Anakin's son, and he'll probably figure out that Palpatine's still alive. And that will be awesome. Like the added bonus of when you watch The Rise of Skywalker and you see Palpatine return and you know now that Thrawn tried to warn them about this years and years prior, like that would just be incredible. Yeah. Pelion is at the Shadow Council, Mike? Yeah, he is. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? He should already know? Well, Pelion is just waiting for Thrawn to return. He doesn't have communication with him. Thrawn's only communication is from the Night Sisters, from the Night Mothers to Morgan Elsbeth. That's how they have communication. I don't think Thrawn's getting the latest and greatest in terms of news from the main galaxy. I don't think he's like sitting down at the television, clicking it on and going, this week in Galaxy Land, Luke Skywalker has just defeated the Emperor and Vader on the second Death Star. A big explosion. Back to you, Clark. Like, I don't think that's what's going on. He's got very little knowledge. And that's why he doesn't know who Ahsoka is when he first meets her. And when he finds out that it's Anakin's Padawan, he's like, holy crap, that's insane. Because he knows who Anakin is and knows what Anakin becomes. He's one of very few that does. So to get him to see him figure that all out will be so great. That's why I need Thrawn to be the main focus of whatever comes next. Not like as the villain, obviously he's going to be the main focus. But I mean, we need multiple scenes, multiple episodes or movies with Thrawn figuring it all out. Like actually getting to see that on screen. Just him, his big blue face and his bright red eyes, figuring it out as it all happens. That Palpatine lived, how Palpatine lived, Vader's death, Luke's alive, figuring out who Luke is. I want to see all of it. Yeah. Was Thrawn aware of Fulcrum? Interesting. I mean, maybe not, because he was probably too late to that. Ahsoka's gone by season 2 of Rebels, and Thrawn doesn't really... That's when Thrawn's gaining his power, so maybe he heard the name, but maybe not. I don't know. Wouldn't Pelion bring him up to date? Yes, but Pelion wouldn't know that Palpatine's alive. He would know that Palpatine died. Thrawn learning that Palpatine is alive would be sick. It would be. It would be so great. Again, I bring up this parallel, but I'll do it again. It's like Fives in the Clone Wars trying to warn everybody about the inhibitor chips and nobody listens to him. If Thrawn finds out about Palpatine and starts warning people, it would be insane. It would be insane. The Rise of Skywalker did not cost $600 million. This is an example of creative accounting in Hollywood studios to inflate the budget numbers to make their films seem less profitable to avoid certain taxes. I don't know about that. I mean, maybe at the time, but 6 years later, what's the point in that? You know? Predator Badlands comes out in November and Avatar 3 comes out in December. I'm so hyped for those two movies coming this year. What do you think? I mean, I'm probably not going to see either. I've seen maybe the original Predator, and that's about it. And then Avatar, I'm not caught up on those either. So, unless there's a Mandalorian and Grogu trailer attached to it, I'm not going to be seeing either. Yeah. Somehow they explain how Palpatine returns. Absolutely. I mean, they already have so much. 3 seasons of The Bad Batch, all this Mandoverse stuff connecting to Project Necromancer with the Shadow Council. It's all being explained over time. But I think, I think Thrawn figuring it out would help explain it quite a bit. Yeah. He must know about Fulcrum because he arrested Agent Callus. But why would Callus be talking about Fulcrum in any case, you know? You know? Oh! Holly with a very generous $10 holla. God damn, that's very generous. Says, please go back and watch the Shadow Council episode. Pelion is in the Shadow Council, and when they speak of Project Necromancer. I definitely got to go rewatch that scene because I don't remember what they specifically say. Each person. Should we watch it right now, actually? Why not? Let's see if I can find it. Shadow Council Star Wars. All right, let's watch this. Why not? Very Phantom Menace entrance of it.
The New Republic is vulnerable, but we must be cautious and show no sign of our true strength.
Easy for you to say, Captain. There's a fortune to be had.
plundering the hyperspace lanes. Commander, your hit-and-run operations are gaining too much notice. If we are perceived as anything other than a group of unorganized remnant warlords, the New Republic will increase their efforts to hunt us down.
Again, I say it all the time. Stuff like the Book of Boba Fett, stuff like Mando Season 3, that just gets absolutely shit on all day long, gets way overlooked. Stuff like this is so important. It's some of the best stuff we've gotten in the Disney Plus realm, but this stuff is so unbelievably important for what the Empire is doing, for how Thrawn is going to rise to power. This is it. The New Republic thinks that the Empire is gone. They think that there's this warlords, this fleeting power. But they don't understand that they're all communicating to each other. They're all connected. They're all trying to work towards one goal. Yes, they like their having of power and not really working too well. They're all doing different things. Project Necromancer, building Starkiller Base, and all these other things. Having a Mandalorian armor and making force-sensitive clones. But what he brings up here is actually pretty interesting. He's talking to this guy, and we know for a fact that this guy, I'm forgetting his name, but this guy will be in Mandalorian and Grogu. He's one of a very few amount of cast members that we know of for the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, and it's this guy. And what Pelion says to him is your hit-and-run operations are becoming too noticeable.
Commander, your hit-and-run operations are gaining too much notice. If we are perceived as anything...
So I think the Mandalorian and Grogu will be sort of a hit-and-run operation that he is doing that Din catches on to, and then maybe Din Djarin and Grogu figure out that there is this more interconnective thing happening behind the Empire, because they dealt with Moff Gideon, and now they'll be dealing with a different warlord of the Empire, and they'll start to put the pieces together.
Other than a group of unorganized remnant warlords, the New Republic will increase their efforts to hunt us down.
There are citizens loyal to the Empire on every planet in this galaxy. They're already getting sick of this New Republic and its rules and regulations.
And if we give them a show of strength, they will rally behind us.
Yes.
But that strength must not be wasted. Grand Admiral Thrawn's return will herald in the reemergence of our military and provide Commandant Hux enough time to deliver on Project Necromancer.
Interesting. I forgot how they phrased all this. So he's talking about Thrawn's return like it's something very imminent, which it is. It happens very shortly after the events of this season. But he knows it like it's a fact. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, we're about to watch it, but I'm pretty sure Moff Gideon's going to be like, we don't even know that Thrawn's coming back in a second. But he even says that Thrawn is just there to give time to Hux to do Project Necromancer. So it's literally just a stalling tactic. Thrawn, his empire, the heir to the Empire, all of it's just a stalling tactic to bring in Snoke and bring in the First Order. Genius. This whole freaking scene is genius.
Captain Pelion, you always speak with much authority, and yet I see, once again, that Grand Admiral Thrawn is missing from your delegation. Any word on when he will be able to participate in the Shadow Council?
With respect, our one hope for success relies upon the secrecy of his return.
Captain, secrets are my stock in trade. I hear whispers from one end of the galaxy to another, and never a word of Thrawn. You have spoken of his imminent return. Perhaps it's time we look to new leadership.
Hear, hear.
Project Necromancer.
So they're all talking about a new leader, and I'm sure Moff Gideon is assuming himself to be the next leader. But he dies. So shortly after this meeting, Moff is gone, but still there's this divide amongst all these leaders. Pelion seems to be contributing as the the lead vocalist of this group, but he's not. And Thrawn could come in and pretty much just take over, but he's going to have these people in this room opposed to that. They want their own power.
Answer is in place for that.
Yes.
Oh, hang on.
Project Necromancer is in place for that.
Project Necromancer is in place for that. For building a new leader. Supreme Leader Snoke. It's all laid out right in front of our freaking faces right here in this incredible scene from the horrible Mandalorian Season 3. Let's keep going.
Yes, Commandant.
What has become of Dr. Pershing and the research you promised us?
Dr. Pershing was captured by the New Republic. His research is lost. For now, at least.
I also hear whispers, Gideon. You held Pershing and were attempting your own experiments on Navarro.
The creation of clones is your obsession, not mine.
Lies. Deceit. What's really crazy about this whole scene, too, is Moff Gideon is almost the piece that's holding them back from making Snoke in the First Order, because he wants to make his own Force-sensitive clones. He wants to do his own thing. He's keeping Dr. Pershing from Project Necromancer. So now that Moff Gideon's dead, that might allow Snoke to be created. That's pretty cool.
I account for what goes on in my sector. No more, no less. The same can be said of every member of this council.
Yes.
Of course.
That's right, yes.
And yet, we individually scrape and claw resources, awaiting the grand plan to take shape, while you and Pelion amass countless resources and equipment which should be shared.
We already received your request. 3 Praetorian guards. Sounds like someone is concerned about an assassination attempt.
And he thinks I'm being the flashy one.
And reinforcements for your TIE Interceptor squadron.
And bombers.
Yes, I see. And what is your security concern?
Mandalorians.
What? They continue to be an issue?
They do. I am increasingly confident that they are preparing to retake their home world of Mandalore.
Which they eventually do. Okay, that scene might be one of the most underrated ones because it's in Season 3 and it's this horrible season. That might be one of the best scenes we've gotten in a long, long time. And it lays it all out perfectly. I'm very glad we watched that. Thank you, Holly, for the super chat. It lays it all out. Pellion's waiting for Thrawn. They're all waiting for this new leader to come in and unite them all. And the other option is what Hux is doing with Project Necromancer, creating Snoke and a new leader for the First Order, for the remnant of the Empire, which eventually becomes the First Order. And it's all a stalling tactic. So while they are doing this, while they are making Snoke in the First Order, Thrawn's going to be the one who brings them all together in a way. And then when Snoke comes around, he's going to be wielding the Force lightning, doing all this stuff, and he's just going to take over. There's a reason why Luke, Leia, Han, they all know the name Snoke, and they fear him. There's a reason that Luke goes into hiding, not just his nephew having some bad dreams. Snoke is a big threat, a huge one. And that has to be established in this Mandoverse time period after Thrawn has exited. Maybe, if we're lucky, Thrawn's death comes from Snoke. Imagine Thrawn is trying to warn the New Republic, literally like he's not even a bad guy at all. He's like, guys, you gotta help me. This guy is evil and he's gonna kill me. And he's telling them about Palpatine and how he's still alive. He's telling them that there's a way bigger threat than just me. You guys are stupid. All that greatness. And then Snoke is just like, I'm going to kill you now. He's just like bouncing lightning off the ground like he does with Rey. That'll be awesome. That'll be awesome. Yeah. Yeah. I think The Mandalorian Season 3, as somebody, yeah, Mando Season 3 is largely good, but it does have some stinkers. It gets a lot of crap because the Jack Black Lizzo episode, the sort of, again, filler episodes we were talking about earlier in the live stream that shouldn't be there. Shouldn't be there at all. And people were upset that Bo-Katan took a more of a lead role in the season. The whole gist of the season is to reclaim Mandalore. It's for them to unite both different clans, Bo-Katan's clan and Din Djarin's clan, together to reclaim Mandalore from Moff Gideon, who's making a Force-sensitive clone army. And that is done very, very well. The final fight scenes on Mandalore are awesome, and it's this big end to this very long arc that was from the Clone Wars, this civil war that the clones have been that the Mandalorians have been going through for some time, and reclaiming their home world after all these years. It is truly underrated. Yeah. And people just look at the bad way more than they look at the good, because that just right there, that 4-minute scene, just it lays the groundwork for what's coming. It lays the groundwork for Thrawn, this trilogy, this Heir to the Empire stuff, and it lays the groundwork for Snoke in the First Order. Perfectly. Yeah. Can I get some good cups, follow orders in the chat, please? Bumper. I really hated the scene where Mando walks in on the throne room and Bo is just sitting there in a throne completely alone, like an NPC in a game. Totally pulls me out of the world. Well, the gist of that is because all her people left her. Because of the last time that they met, because of the Darksaber itself, she has been left by her people. And that's why she's sitting there by herself, all depressed and alone. Yeah. Yeah. Look at all those good cups of follow orders. I will say, me and Sam just started watching The Bad Batch. We are almost done with the first episode. It's taken us forever to watch just episode 1 because the first episode of Bad Batch, talk about run times, the first episode of The Bad Batch is 1 hour and 15 minutes. An animated Star Wars show where the rest of the episodes are like 20, 30 minutes. It's 1 hour and 15. It's like a Bad Batch movie. It's awesome, but it's taken us a while to get through it. Yeah, so Samantha's like, what's up with Crosshair? I'm like, good soldiers follow orders. What do you mean? Good cups follow orders. You know? Yeah. I don't see why it matters, though. As soon as an argument happens, the Mandalorians will all be killing each other again as usual. I hope not. I mean, they just got their planet back. They just reunited. I certainly hope that's not the case. I mean, Thrawn could change a lot because he might go try and take over Mandalore, which would be disastrous, but we'll see. We shall see. I also had to explain to Sam who Kanan was because I didn't realize. Well, I did realize, but I didn't really put it together in my head. The Bad Batch comes out after Rebels. So for us, we got to see Rebels first, and then we watched The Bad Batch, so we know who Kanan is. We know what's going on there. But she didn't. So I had to explain to her that Kanan's a very important character, and he's going to be in this first episode, and you need to remember him. And then he shows up, and he goes, my name is Caleb, or whatever. Whatever. And she's like, I thought you said his name was Kanan. I was like, oh, yeah, he's got an alias. I completely forgot that his name's not actually Kanan Jarrus. Yeah. My bad. Who's Sam? Samantha is, in a word, the GOAT. She's the guest we have on this channel quite a bit. The legendary, the one, the only. The first watcher of The Bad Batch. First time viewer of a lot of things. Yes, Kanan with the child with the adult voice. She thought that was weird too. She was like, why is his voice so deep? I was like, it's because it's the same voice actor. Weird that they didn't pitch up his voice, you know? The love of Mike's life. Exactly. Exactly. So you guys get it. Okay, moving on. Continuing. Okay. So Ahsoka Season 2 is doing all that. Off the backs of the Shadow Council meeting, the Mandalorian and Grogu will deal with that guy from the Shadow Council that we just talked about. This guy right here. This guy right here. This guy. Mandalorian and Grogu will have this guy in it. So his, what do they call him here?
Plundering the hyperspace lanes. Commander, your hit and run operation.
Hit and run operations. That will be a big part of this, of Mandalorian and Grogu. Like, that's how they get in and figure out the Shadow Council exists, I guess. Yeah. And then we go from there. Ahsoka Season 2, we'll see Thrawn sort of reunite or unite the Shadow Council and be the distraction or hold over while Project Necromancer is happening, and we get to see Snoke come to fruition. I am dying to know, and I'm dying to know what you guys think too, if Omega plays a role in this. Because the Bad Batch set up one thing specifically clear, that Omega is supposed to be the only person, at least that we've seen, that can transfer midichlorians. Now, maybe Grogu can do that too, because, I mean, Moff Gideon does use Grogu's blood to create Force-sensitive clones. But Omega, that we see in the Bad Batch, isn't Force-sensitive, but she can transfer the Force sensitivity. So is it possible that Omega actually becomes the key ingredient to creating Snoke in Project Necromancer? Is there a reason we haven't seen Omega in live action yet? Because she might be like Echo when the Separatists capture Echo and they use his mind to beat the Republic. What if Omega is already captured by Hux's dad, actually, and is being used to create Snoke? Imagine there's like this huge rescue mission in Ahsoka Season 2 to rescue Omega from the remnant of the Empire because she's already being used. That would be insane. Yeah. I think to create Snoke, it's going to take a miracle. It's going to take a miracle, and that miracle is Luke's blood, Omega's blood, and Grogu's blood mixed with a little bit of, you know, happiness and tears of children and youngling slayers and some, maybe a pinch of salt, maybe some cookie dough. But all that to make Snoke. It's going to take a big amount of things because it's supposed to be something very difficult to do. To create a Force-sensitive clone, it's not going to be easy. So hopefully it's explained that we get, Omega's blood, Grogu's blood, Luke's blood, all of it coming together to create the powerful, almighty, supreme leader Snoke. Yeah. What about Ventress? Ventress hopefully comes in too. That'd be nice. That'd be nice. But she'll be hopefully helping out with the whole Night Sisters of it all. Same with Marin and Cal Kestis and all these things coming together. It's all coming together very nicely. From the Bad Batch characters of Omega specifically, I don't think the Bad Batch themselves will be involved, but from Omega to Cal Kestis and Marin to Asajj Ventress to all the Ghost crew to the Skeleton Crew members, Book of Boba Fett members, Mandalorian members, it seems like they're all on a very similar trajectory to becoming this great united team, Avengers Assemble, and then taking down Grand Admiral Thrawn. Little do they know, it's not for anything because Snoke will rise to power. They will all lose. The First Order will win. Luke will go into hiding. Kylo Ren will kill all the younglings. And it will all be for nothing. Yeah. I thought Ventress wanted to train Omega. I don't think so. She's not Force sensitive. I'm out of here. Maybe I'm forgetting. Maybe I'm forgetting. Omega can't be connected to Snoke because the Mandalorian is around after the Emperor. And Empire, and Omega just joined the rebellion. Well, that means that she would be involved with the New Republic. Omega joins the Empire in the sort of epilogue of the Bad Batch, which is years and years later. So she joins the rebellion right before the original trilogy, I think. And that's when we don't know what happens to her, but we assume that she becomes good pals again with her good pal, Harrison Dula, who she met as a child. and then hopefully she has a role in the in the New Republic. Could be. Yeah. I thought. Oh, I just read that. Yeah. We shall see. A rewatch party? Seems like we have to. Will they bring Palpatine back to create Snoke or just make Snoke raw? Well, that's a little crazy to put it that way, but I think Snoke will be. In The Rise of Skywalker, there's a bunch of bacta tanks with Snoke-like people in it. So you have to assume that Palpatine has a say in how this goes. Palpatine in the, again, Shadow of the Sith novel appears to Ochi of Bastoon, gives him this dagger, and does all that stuff. So is Palpatine in contact with Hux? Is Palpatine in contact with even maybe Pelion or something? Who knows Palpatine's still alive? It is a good question, and I don't know. Will he be involved with the creation of Snoke? Couldn't tell you. I mean, I feel like he has to be, but I don't know how. Yeah. They seem to be setting up Snoke to be a swapping body character who doesn't look the same in every appearance. Knights of Ren mentioned him looking very different from the last time that they saw him in a recent comic. Really? That would be interesting. He sort of just keeps swapping bodies. That would be wild. Palpatine says, I made Snoke. Well, then, yeah, he has to have a say in it. I know he sort of is controlling Snoke. Snoke is his own being. He is his own thing. It's not just Palpatine in disguise. It's not like a Scooby-Doo type situation here. It's actually his own being. But Palpatine does have a say over, what goes down. Yeah. I made Snoke in a cave with a box of scraps. That's awesome. Yeah. So I wonder to what level Hux knows about Palpatine's existence, if he knows that Palpatine is still around. That'd be interesting. Indeed it would. Indeed it would. Okay. Let's switch gears a little bit here. Oh, by the way. Yeah, let's switch gears a little bit here to the Mia Goth of it all. So switching gears to Starfighter. Last stream, we talked quite a bit about Maul Shadowlord and how the character of Darth Talon could be coming over to canon because Maul in the leaked trailer and in the leaks for Maul Shadowlord is getting a apprentice that is a Twi'lek. And Twi'lek apprentice of Darth Maul in Legends is Darth Talon. So it makes sense if this is our canon version of the character. And many of you brought up the fact that we could be getting an older Darth Talon in a post-sequel world as Mia Goth in Starfighter. Now we got a little bit more information about this character of Mia Goth that she is playing from the director of the movie, Shawn Levy. So Shawn Levy is the best. He's the best because he makes great movies and he makes great stuff, but he's also the best because he gives us so much. In his interviews, he tells us some greatness. He even posted the first official image of Ryan Gosling and Flynn Gray on the set of Starfighter while they were filming. And now he's given us this about Mia Goth in Starfighter. So take a look at this. Shawn Levy on casting Mia Goth in Star Wars Starfighter. We needed a singular actor to play a fiercely complex new character within the Star Wars galaxy. Mia is a unicorn of an actress. And it's not like you have to say, we need a Mia Goth type, because there is no type. There's just Mia. Now, I'm not familiar with the Mia Goth work. I'm not familiar with what she's done before. So I know some of you are in the chat, and you guys like her quite a bit. But this is some pretty high praise, and he does describe her character as a fiercely complex new character within the Star Wars galaxy. Now, this doesn't throw out the fact that it could be Darth Talon. She's technically a new character in the Star Wars galaxy, but it doesn't really give me that sort of vibe. let's put it this way. She's not the only villain in this movie. Matt Smith was also cast as a villain. So to say that she is a singular actor playing a very fiercely complex new character within the Star Wars galaxy, how does that connect to even Matt Smith's character that he is playing? How we're trying to sort of just guesstimate what the villains of this movie will be. You have to imagine that they're either smugglers or pirates or Sith or something. They're hunting down a Force-sensitive child. Like, what's the purpose in that? Why do they need / want Flynn Gray's character? Why are they hunting him down? The obvious answer would be that they're Sith and they want to capture him to make him a Sith or whatever. Kill him, I don't know. He knows too much, possibly. But it is pretty cool to see that she could be a new character and that she was one of one. There is no Mia Goth type in Hollywood. There's only just her. So we'll see what that means. But what do we think? Who do you think Mia Goth is playing? What do you think the villains of Starfighter are going to be? Pirates, smugglers, Sith Lords, or something else? Tell me in the chat. Is that Mia's in costume? No. This is not what Mia looks like in Star Wars. No, this is just, I don't know what this is from. I don't know what this is from. It's not from Starfighter. No, this is not. No, it's not. No. Darth Talon is not going to happen because Maul isn't a Sith in Shadow Lord, so his apprentice wouldn't be considered a Darth. While that is true, Talon is also going to leave Maul in the dust because Talon's not in Rebels. She's not in Solo. Maul loses this apprentice pretty quickly. So where does she go from there? She could go off into hiding. She could end up on a Sith planet and learn the ways of the Sith. Maybe have another teacher, probably Matt Smith's character, maybe. And that could end up being how she gets the name of Darth. She becomes a true Sith Lord, not just from training with Darth Maul. She actually does. That could be a way they do it. But I seriously doubt they're going to bring in this Twi'lek apprentice to Darth Maul and then just kill her off because she's not in, again, Rebels or Solo. So she has to either disappear or go off on her own or do something like that. Mia is Mara Jade? No. As much as I love Mara Jade, no. Matt Smith could be Darth Krayt. Well, that would be the dream. Darth Krayt is on Moraban and Talon shows up and trains her in the ways of the Sith, and they start their own Sith order, and then they're hunting down this Flynn Gray character. That's the dream. That's the dream. No Sith in Starfighter, I reckon, especially with the Darth name, it's way too soon. That's also a big issue. It's only 5 years after the Rise of Skywalker. Palpatine just died, and he was supposed to be all the Sith. So, yeah, that's true. Yeah. The Vong, that's another option. So you got the fact that they could be the Yuzon Vong, a brand new to canon species. They could be pirates, they could be Sith, they could be bounty hunters. I don't know. So much mystery around Starfighter. Even though we seem like we know a lot, we know the cast at least. We know Amy Adams' characters, rumored to be playing a Jedi, possibly Mara Jade. And Flynn Gray is going to be Force sensitive, but Ryan Gosling is not going to be. So we know a little bit. We definitely don't know a lot. Yeah. The Sith Eternal got wiped out too. Yes, they did. Indeed. Matt Smith being Darth Krayt and Mia Goth being Darth Talon would be like dream come true scenario, especially if Amy Adams is Mara Jade. But yeah. TVC Ryan Gosling? What does TVC mean? Thank Victoria character. Hang on. I got it. Trouble, victory, carnage. No, hang on. Totally vehicle or total vehicle can't. Nope. Hang on. The vintage collection. Oh, okay. I never would have got there. That's crazy. Okay. In The Mandalorian, they had forgotten about the Jedi. Yeah, the Jedi are sort of an ancient thing now. Well, that's before Luke's Jedi Temple comes around. Because for the last 25 years, the Empire's propaganda has been the Jedi are evil and they shouldn't be around. So most people who are 25 or younger don't know the Jedi. And even the people who are maybe 25 to 35, they weren't old enough to even know the Jedi either. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. We shall see. But Mia Goth's character, first description of her from Shawn Levy, the director himself, is a fiercely complex new character within the Star Wars galaxy. And new, again, still couldn't be technically in reference to Darth Talon. But that's just me, fanboy dreaming. So there was that. Oh, yes. So let's go over real quick all the announcements from New York Comic Con, because not only was this the stuff that we talked about on Saturday, but there was a little bit more, and let's just recap it real quick. So, New York City Comic Con 2025, all the news and reveals from the Lucasfilm Publishing panel. We're going to go through it really quickly here, because we talked about a lot of it. This is the biggest one to me, Star Wars Legacy. Leia, getting to see more of Leia Organa Solo is going to be great. And her training Rey with a hint of Kylo in there. Pretty great. That comes out next year, so it makes 2026 even better. Then we got this, Eyes Like Stars, this sort of romance novel. You have that. Oh, it takes place a year and a half before the Rise of The Force Awakens, sorry. All new characters. A mysterious artifact in the fearsome First Order. Okay, so it's connected to the sequels. Art from The Mandalorian and Grogu. So that obviously after the movie comes out. Yeah. There's that. It also includes artwork from Mando Season 3 and the Book of Boba Fett. Maybe Boba Fett in The Mandalorian and Grogu. Possibly. We got a Star Wars Visions spinoff, a sort of comic, sorry. And there's that. New High Republic stuff. So the High Republic came to an end, but we're still getting High Republic Pathfinder miniseries of Dark Horse Comics. This one's really, really cool. We didn't talk about this on Saturday, but this is the Boba Fett black, white, red. They did the the Darth Maul black, white, and red, and this is just the Boba Fett one. It looks awesome. As you can see, it's all black, white, and red. But that's pretty cool. So there's that. Then there's we saw the Jar Jar comics too. That comes back with Keller and Beck. This stuff is really cool though. So sneak peek to the Mandalorian and Grogu visual guide. We got the Crate Dragon there. You got Luke's Jedi Temple here being built. Pretty great stuff there. Osis, which is Luke's Jedi Temple planet. In the years since the defeat of the Sith, Luke Skywalker has been researching the lost history of the Jedi. He has recently uncovered the location of Osis, a world that is one of several wait, what? Oh, to the homeworld of the Jedi Order. Okay. Upon his arrival, Luke discovers a lush world teeming with life. The true rule of the Jedi past remains a mystery. Oh, true role of the Jedi past, but a promising role for the Jedi for the Order's future has become clear to him. Okay, so that's just where he sets up base. You got the Adelphi base here, which is going to be in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. And then Moff Gideon in his TIE Fighter. Pretty cool. You got that stuff. Then you got the behind the scenes, the 50 years of innovation, industrial light and magic, Jurassic Park, Bespin, and all the drawings of the Slave One and stuff. You got we got some creatures that are coming back in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. There. And Hoth, of course. You got a Grogu drawing thing. Another Grogu drawing thing. Art from Andor. That's pretty cool. Ooh. Doug Chang stuff. Drawings from the prequels. More Acolyte stuff. Some badass drawings there. Pretty cool stuff there. And Crochet. There you have it. That was all the stuff announced at the Star Wars panel at New York Comic Con. So if you missed it, there's that. The thing that has me most excited on this list by far, though, is that Star Wars Legacy novel, and it comes out next year. So that's pretty exciting. This thing right here. In between The Mandalorian and Grogu and Ahsoka Season 2, we'll be living it up with this. Yeah. Indeed. Okay. We talked about that. $600 million movie. Ahsoka Season 2 we talked about for quite some time. Oh, they made GIFs. Lucasfilm made GIFs for the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, so official GIFs. So we'll send those all over to the Discord. If you guys are not yet in the Discord, there's a link in the description below to a Discord called The People Who Love Star Wars. Go join it immediately. There's that. Oh, the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer was released in IMAX for the Tron Legacy movie. So there's that. It's the same trailer, but there's that. Yeah, I think that's all. Oh, there was this. The official Mandalorian GIFs account has leaked that it is indeed Rod of the Hutt in the Mandalorian and Grogu. Oh, and Sigourney Weaver's character is Colonel Ward, not Bishop, which people thought it was Bishop sort of as a nod to the Alien franchise. It's actually Colonel Ward, unless it's Bishop Ward, but I don't think so. Or Ward Bishop. But there's that. So, little confirmation on some characters there. Rod of the Hutt, no surprise there, and Colonel Ward. Surprise, surprise. So there you have it. All right. But with that being said, let me end this poll. Sigourney. Is a smaller budget for Ahsoka Season 2 cause for concern? 64% of you say no. All right. All right. Okay. Sounds good to me. Then I'm not concerned. If you're not concerned, I'm not concerned. We're good. You know, we're living it up here as Star Wars fans. The news just keeps on coming. Usually in these times off of a Star Wars show, the live streams are like an hour and a half. And yet somehow we keep going over an hour 45, somehow 2 hours last stream when we're not even watching a Star Wars show. The news has just been going strong lately, and I'm really loving it because it gives us content to talk about. We don't have to have those live streams where I'm just sitting here like, you know? So it's really great. It's great to see. It is indeed. Yeah. Okay, but with that being said, smash a freaking like on the stream if you have not already. How many likes do we have, chat? Am I gonna be upset? Am I gonna be upset? What the hell? Smash a freaking like on the stream if you have not already. Hit that subscribe, hit that bell so you get notified every time I post a video. And my pretty face will show up on the recommended feed of yours. I appreciate you all for being here. This was quite the live stream. This was really quite the live stream. No, Cole, thank you. You guys don't understand. This wouldn't happen. This channel wouldn't exist. The people who love Star Wars don't exist without you. So don't look at me. Don't thank me. Don't look at me! Thank yourselves, okay? It's all you guys. So I appreciate you so much more than you'll ever know. I really, really do. Don't forget to smash a freaking like on this stream. I appreciate that too. And yeah, may the force be with you. Always. Oh, yeah. What a great stream. What a great show. You guys are the absolute best. This was quite, I mean, I could not be more excited for Ahsoka Season 2. I say that now, but I'm going to be. I'm really, really excited for Ahsoka Season 2. I can't wait. We got to wait a whole nother year, but, we'll have content in between now. We'll have time. We got stuff coming. Maul, Shadow Lord, Mandalorian, and Grogu, but Ahsoka Season 2 is where it's at. The hype level is through the roof, and I can't wait. But until next time, hope you have a great rest of your evening, great rest of your lives, and good night, everybody.